So if you pre-order God of War Ascension from GameStop, you get a 300 DLC, and the character, King Leonidas. Can I ask a question? Who gives a fuck? Really? What's up, guys? Welcome back to TheReviewSpace, and honestly, who gives a shit about this? I mean, my god. A 300 DLC? The movie? From 2007? Like, early 07? That movie's like 5.5 years old. And why is God of War Ascension... Why? I mean, I understand the whole Spartan, ancient Greek, or Greek mythology thing going on, and there's sort of, you know, a Greek-Spartan tie there. Two fictional kind of warriors, and I understand that. But it's like, why? Why are you linking it to a half a decade old movie? You know, it's like one of the most overrated movies from 2007 too. Like, I remember watching that movie when it came out in theaters, and it's not really that good. I thought the action was decent, there was violence in there, but it just wasn't that good of a movie. The storyline was kind of lame. The acting was they were way overacting, and I just thought it was kind of overrated. And now somehow if you pre-order at GameStop, they will add the King Leonidas character to the multiplayer ranks. I mean, that's just cheesy to me. That's really corny. It's really kind of obscure now that they would do something like that, and it's just kind of lame. I mean, if they're gonna add King Leonidas, why not some other awesome, like, Greek mythology character, or a brand new, like, original character? Something that a little bit more interesting, a little bit more, you know, fascinating. Somebody who has, I mean, anything, any other character. Why does it have to be King Leonidas? This guy sucks. I wasn't even a fan of that character. I thought it was a pretty generic character, or not generic. I shouldn't say generic. One-dimensional, you know. But then again, hey, Kratos is fairly one-dimensional himself. I mean, the guy is just always kind of pissed off and angry, and he's always about vengeance anyway. So, hey, maybe these guys will actually, they fit in the same mold, that same overly angry, overacting kind of category. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just so lame. Ascension is just, it's not looking good. I mean, to me, Ascension is just a big cash-in for Sony. It's like every few years they gotta have a God of War game. You know, they gotta keep milking this franchise. I mean, if you think about it, God of War hasn't really been that good since the first one. The first one was amazing, great story, original. At least like the setup, it felt kind of refreshing. You know, it had like certain shades of Devil May Cry and even Ryger and all these other, you know, action adventure titles. But it's set in this refreshing environment, this Greek mythology, and you have this awesome anti-hero character, Kratos. And then when Dave Jaffe left, and this guy was the creator of Kratos, he created God of War, it was his vision. He left, his creativity, his creative input was gone. So in God of War 2, the sequel, came out in, yeah, that one came out in 2007, same year that 300 came out. When that game came out, it was like, it went in a different direction. I think every fan that I've spoken to that liked the first God of War think that God of War 2 kind of started to fall off. It just was, it felt weird. There was sort of a change in direction, and not in the good sense. But even though I do like God of War 2, I think it's a quality game. It's a well-made game, technically. Great graphics, great music, awesome gameplay, the same as the previous game's gameplay, really, virtually unchanged, which is nice. It was just the storyline, the direction in storytelling was just, now you have a, they had to set up and kind of force this feud against the gods, like Zeus and Poseidon and all these other gods that actually helped out Kratos in the first game. So that didn't really make too many sense. It was just kind of like, I don't want to say it jumped the shark, but they were really reaching for a brand new feud, a new storyline, a new kind of arc. And it didn't really even progress Kratos' character. Like, in the first one, he was fighting against Ares, because Ares was the main source of his misery. He basically sold his soul to Ares or whatever, his services, in exchange for power. so he's able to kill everybody in his way, and he became this powerful military leader or whatever. And then he ended up killing his family in the process, and it felt he was somehow betrayed by Ares, or he was tricked by Ares to a certain degree, and so he goes on and kills Ares and becomes the new god of war. And then in the sequels, God of War 2, God of War 3, the storyline was just like, now he's against the gods. Now they have to set up this forced feud against Zeus, against Hades, against all these other gods that he has to kill and fight to somehow... I don't even know what he was fighting for in the sequels, because he already killed Ares, the guy who was behind it, his misery. He basically avenged his family or whatever, his daughter and his wife, and he basically got a lot of power. He became a god himself, and really it was his fault. The whole thing, the reason why he fell from his grace in God of War 2, where they took away his powers, was because he was... I guess he was abusing his power or whatever. He was just being corrupt. He was waging wars, and he was just destroying cities. And that's why they took and removed his powers. I mean, just... It was forced. You know, it felt kind of weird. It wasn't as creative. It was kind of just a crappy angle. It was a crappy storyline. It was like... You know, they had no more creative juices. They had nothing new, so they had to resort to this forced kind of family warfare kind of thing. You know, all the gods fighting each other, or Kratos fighting his father and trying to get the Titans on his side. So anyway, I mean, this is a prequel, God of War Ascension. It's a prequel, you guys. You know how crappy prequels can be, and you know, they're basically just a cash-in. So instead of making a sequel, instead of progressing the story and at least adding something new and developing Kratos, they have to go to the very beginning and try to force in this kind of, well, let's see what happened at the start with Kratos. It's like a younger Kratos in the past. Let's see what happened. It does, you know, God of War Ascension, I'm sure it's going to be a quality game, again, technically. You know, good gameplay, good graphics, music, all that, but it's like, in terms of an actual relevant storyline where you care about the character, you care about the direction, you care about the build-up, I don't think it's going to have that. It's just not going to have that. It's going to be just, again, a cash-in. So you can make money off this engine, this combat engine that they've had since 2005, really, so... I mean, that's it. You know, I kind of went off on a different topic, but the King Leonidas thing was just, I think it's really corny too. 300's overrated. That's it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, ciao.